Yay! Hi, everyone. Oh, this is so exciting. It's Abby here with I Practice. I'm excited to bring you guys this new segment with where we get to eat together every Wednesday from 12 to 1 Central Time. Only Jeff knows this as well. When I say eat, it's something a little different than food. It's eat as in educate, automate, target. And but of course, we're gonna go over a lot of information, and it is over the lunchtime. So I totally understand if you guys are physically eating at this time, and I encourage you to do so. But I have a very special guest today that I want to introduce you guys to. It's Mr. Jeff White. Hi, Jeff. He
Hello.
is the partner relations manager over at Revenue Well. We have worked with Jeff for quite a while now, right, Jeff?
Yeah, quite some time. Yeah, long-standing history with High Five and Abbey and I.
Yeah. How long have you been with Revenue Well?
Well, man, I've been with Revenue Well for going on 5 years.
Okay. Yeah.
5 right now. Yeah, so it's been a good ride for sure.
I feel like since we've been working with dental practices and Revenue Well, we've always been with you. So that's why it definitely felt right to have you join us today. So thank you.
Yeah, it's actually very fortunate to be able to join. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. For those of you that aren't familiar with Revenue Well or the software that they utilize, Jeff will definitely be talking about that. But he's very knowledgeable as far as communications and how to make sure you're communicating properly and effectively to your patients by using the software like Revenue Well with all their capabilities. So that's why I have you on today, so we can talk more about where you see a lot of value and how their best practices that are most successful and thrive, so other practices can take those tips and utilize them in their practices as well. So, yay!
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jeff, just to kind of start it off, put you on the spot, right? First off, give like an overview of Revenue Well and what you guys do for practices.
Yeah, and that our product category and what we do has been constantly evolving and expanding. But Revenue Well was originally designed as a patient communication and marketing platform to really help practices build better and more connected relationships between their practice and the patients within the community. So we accomplished that through appointment reminders and some of the automated messages that you might be accustomed to now, such as recall and reactivations. But we wanted to really kind of take that further and really empower practices to be able to confidently market to their patients and be able to run those campaigns and be able to personalize them. The dental practice isn't out of the box, neither is your practice. So it's really a great platform to help align, the needs and the importance of some of the things that you have in your practice to your patient base. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know we have a lot of our clients on Revenue Well, and that's what we help do is we manage and maximize those campaigns. With all of your guys' capabilities, we're able to target patients, and that's the T in EAT, right? We're able to utilize your automations and also educate. I kind of went backwards there, but and on the last segment, I talked more about new patients and how that's where a lot of focus is usually on is new patients, which is absolutely important. But a stat that I used last week was just if you value your current patients and you actually focus on them, it's 5 to 25 times more expensive than retaining an existing one. So I think Revenue Well does a really great job of really communicating to the patients, and I know that's how we're able to do our job effectively. So as far as success, what have you guys seen that brings the most value to the practice as far as Revenue Well? Where do you see the most value with Revenue Well?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say it depends on the practice too. I mean, you might have different needs and goals that you have, so the value might be a little bit different than the dentist office down the road from you. But in most cases, what we've noticed with our customers, just utilizing the system to the fullest. We did a ROI study on just over 3,000 practices about a year or so ago. And we really found the top quartile of practices that are using Revenue Well that have kind of adopted all the features are 25% more times in terms of their return on investment. So just using the tool that we give you, customizing it and making it unique to your practice really drives the ability to actually connect with your patients. So, and being diverse with those outreach attempts. So being able to do a text message campaign, maybe an email for the second attempt, and even direct mail. So really diversifying how you actually engage with your patients.
Yeah, 25 times more. That's amazing just by utilizing it and turning it on.
Yeah, utilizing and turning everything on, just adopting the product that you're investing in, you'll see a large return coming from some of the campaigns such as treatment plan follow-up, where, you know, if you have a proposed treatment plan to a patient, which, you know, every office has some opportunity there, just trying to capture on some of those unscheduled patients to bring them back in. And then, you know, you have times where you need to effectively run and send out a massive email or text campaign to fill your schedule, or to, you know, bring awareness or educate your patients on new offerings or new services available. You know, running those campaigns with confidence really drives home some of the production. You'll see a huge return in that.
Yeah, that's our favorite thing, is to just educate people on, or your patients specifically, on what exactly is going on in the practice. I mean, you probably see this, practices, they live and breathe dentistry, they're in the moment, they know what's going on, and they tend to forget that just these internal conversations are not getting out to the patients, and they don't really understand what's going on unless you are mass communicating to them. So I don't know if you've heard this, but I've been having conversations with practices removing PPOs, and they talking about how, you know, like, okay, well, what's going to happen when I get rid of MetLife or Blue Cross Blue Shield or any of those? What's going to happen to my patients? Am I going to lose them? And it always comes back to education, right? Like, well, what are you telling your patients? Are you waiting for them to come to the office and like surprising them and they feel blindsided, right? Or are you sending a targeted campaign to those patients that have that specific insurance that you're going to be dropping, and letting them know this is going to happen on this date, but we still are here to take care of you, right? So I think they're saying that internally the team knows about it, but the patients have no idea. And then the bad reviews come and then they're not so happy.
Yeah, you definitely want to, and you know, that's an opportunity. That's something that's becoming more and more popular, is dropping certain insurance companies and either creating or setting up their own membership programs, or just going straight fee for service and not even accepting insurance. You want to be smart and methodical about it. You want to stage it out. You know, what does that communication cadence look like? What does a conversation sound like when we're in the practice? How do you start building awareness? There's going to be patients that will not understand that and they will not come back. But the patients that really value your dentistry are willing to pay for it. And that's what you want to start communicating and understanding, really. I mean, if you lose 25% of those patients, you know, let's say they're of your Delta patients, but you're spiking in productivity and profitability, then you know what? That to me is good attrition. So
absolutely. You know, it's focusing on the loyal patients, right? It's not just focusing on the quantity, to your very point. It's who's loyal to your practice, and they'll become loyal too if you actually educate them on the opportunities. If you just neglect them entirely and don't take the time to educate them, you could be missing out on the loyal patients. But if they're not loyal, then in their price shopping, you don't want them anyway.
Right.
You know, they're not specific to your practice. Those aren't people that make you happy to come in to do what you do every day, and it's bad culture for your team too, right? So by nurturing those patients and making sure they're loyal, yeah, absolutely. Lifetime patients. That's what we want.
That's what you want, right?
Well, you guys definitely have the most capabilities when it comes to targeting. So when I think of like campaigns like this with PPO dropping, or when it comes to treatment acceptance, that's always our favorite. You guys have the most capabilities as far as working with filters and how to target those audiences. What do you think is the most neglected campaign when it comes to targeted options?
Yeah, you know, I think there's kind of two parts to understand. There's your automated messages. So, you know, turning on everything possible within your patient communication tool is so important, and making touching every patient, regardless of where they are within the patient journey. I feel like for us, and I look at most revenue well practices that are using us, they're kind of scared or reluctant to turn on the treatment plan follow-up feature. Either that be because of their their processes on how they actually enter that treatment plan into their practice management system, or it's just the fear of, you don't really know what's underneath, beneath the sheet, so to speak. So I would say turn that on, right? I mean, you have up to 5 attempts with Revenue Well to follow up on unscheduled treatment plans. You can customize every campaign or every point of contact with that patient. If you want to include a chart summary and give them access to a Casey Cloud video or a web link, great, it's there for you. But if you want to just start with like one follow-up attempt, making it more of a general summary or a conversation of what happened, again, it's just an opportunity to delight that patient. So even if it's just, hey, it was great seeing you yesterday. Thanks for coming in. If you have any questions or concerns regarding the treatment plan we discussed, give us a call, right? Like, it doesn't have to be everything that's available to you. It can be what's really important to you, and making sure it's reflective of the conversations that you're having with that patient when you're in the chair with them. So I would say make sure your treatment plan follow-up as well as the post-op instructions are on, right? Again, I'm talking about making sure we're delighting patients throughout their digital journey with your practice. That's a huge opportunity just to say, again, thank them for coming in, giving them a resource that they might need if they lose that piece of paper afterwards. But also you can take it a step further and use it as an automated post-op call, right? Like, just checking in with you. How's everything feeling? Do you any pain or discomfort, any swelling? Like, call or text us anytime. Like, we're here for you, right? So making sure that you're really understanding the automation, but also making sure that it's being adapted to your practice in the way that you want it to. You don't have to use it out of the box.
Yeah. I think that's so important too. You guys have all these capabilities within the software, but it's how it doesn't have to always be used. It's the way you use it. And that's what it's there for. It's to show you can do this. There's all these capabilities, but you can take a step back and keep it simplified. You don't have to do that. And that's typically what we find too. Just even being vague on just, you're opening up a conversation. If you're worried about, I don't think the input that we have in the system is going to come out accurately, and whether it's payment, whether it's the services that are listed, then don't have that table. Just take that out. But the conversation is the important piece there, that they just know that they have proposed treatment due and to call the office. Right there, you're starting a conversation. They're calling your office, and you can talk through it with them to make sure that they're taken care of. So totally. I think what tends to happen, they get that one patient that calls, right, that is really upset and has a bad day, or just, you just hit them at the right time. And then they call and they say, well, I don't know why I'm getting all these messages, and you see I have treatment due, and how dare you, right? We've had these calls, right? And then they panic and they turn it off.
Leave them turned on. Build that pipeline up. That was something with COVID too. A lot of practices got busy after they opened up. So they shut all the communication. No, leave it on. Build the pipeline up. Who cares if you can't get them in for 2 months?
Yeah.
At least you can pull this patient forward if you got a cancellation or no-show,
Exactly. And otherwise the pressure is completely on the front. Like, are you going to be the one to physically have to make those calls? And if they're not turned on, or how much are you going to be, to your very point, building it up? You're pushing off a problem, and it's not getting smaller. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And yes, you might get an influx of calls, but that's a good thing. That is what that would be amazing if all of a sudden we had all these phones ringing, like when you send out a campaign. That is a successful campaign when you make the phones ring. So I think it's just about building that confidence and saying, guys, you need to just generalize your copy if that's the way it is. And we always say hit the pain points too. So you guys have 5 attempts and treatment plan follow-ups, which is awesome, because there are multiple pain points that all patients experience, whether it's fear of dentistry, highlight sedation, it's financials, highlight your financial options, it's time, to highlight technology and how quick they're going to get in and out of their appointment typically for that procedure, right? So and then, like we always say, authority. So highlighting reviews, let them know that other people are bragging about them so they feel good to book that appointment. You can alter each message to be something different and something more powerful to really drive results. But the fact that you guys have 5 attempts is also beneficial. And I agree with you. Treatment plan follow-up is typically always turned off when we go in. It's always recall, appointment reminders, and happy birthday. And then the
Right.
rest are off. Do you guys find that a lot too?
Yeah, we find it's definitely been getting better over time, just creating more awareness around those campaigns and the benefit of them. I mean, I would say if you're fearful of turning it on, let's just start by understanding, like, how do you want to use it? Like, what opportunities do you have specific to treatment plans?
Yeah.
And, again, create an outline of how you want to go after, or at least engage with those patients that have a proposed treatment plan. And then you have the other option too, where it's like custom campaigns, where you want to be able, and not everybody knows what custom campaigns is. I would say anytime you want to send out an outreach to a ton of patients at once, whether it be email, direct mail, text, might want to send a campaign or a massive, send off of communications to those patients.
Yeah.
I mean, in your newsletters, like for one, you have pre-built templates. Do one every month. It's an easy campaign to run. It pops up in their email and they look at it. Great. If they don't even open it, they'll see the subject line message from Main Street Dental or whatever it might be. It creates awareness, right? And I would say anything that you do with Revenue Well, make sure you're just consistent with it, right? If you're doing a newsletter, if you're doing outreach attempts, do it consistently and do it in different areas, right? Do it on social as well. Don't be afraid of video. But in the custom campaign functionality, you can go in there and say, maybe you don't want to turn on the automated one. Maybe we want to work towards that. But let's say doctor schedule falls apart and you need to fill it. Well, of course you're going to pull the unscheduled report and start dialing out. But what if you were to run a campaign targeting all of doctors' favorite, type of procedures that they like to do, 2740, 6010s, maybe taking a step further, filtering out by just cash patients, or maybe insurance companies that have higher reimbursement rates. Like it doesn't have to be complicated, and it's so easy to run. And obviously you have support here at Revenue Well to do it, as well as High Five, and it's so easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's such a good point too, because I know when COVID happened, that was the attack that we went with our clients. We said, let's not just go after, obviously we have only a certain amount of availabilities, right? So let's not just fill the schedule to fill the schedule. Let's fill it with purpose, right? Let's go after high value procedures and treatment that you want to do. This is a stressful time. Let's do stuff that you enjoy. So, and then that you're also going to profit over, because we have to make up for months that are closed, that you were closed. So, I mean, I think being more strategic with your efforts too. And to your very point, you have custom campaigns. That is an outreach to your patients. Utilize it. You be able to talk to everybody at the same time instead of calling, and then do the call and text as a backup. That is something to complement. And with some of these, you want to email and text at the same time, and then do a follow-up call as a backup, because that's time with your team member physically calling with everything else that they're doing, right? So it's making sure that it's strategic, because that's obviously the overall goal. Otherwise, it's not efficient and it's not going to work. You're just sending it out to send it out with no purpose, which we never want. That's no.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Like, so when you go to maybe send off a custom message or a campaign, like there's really 5 elements that you want to focus on first before even hitting send. Define your theme. So what do you want to actually communicate out? What's important? What's your purpose, right? What am I trying to accomplish with this campaign?
Yeah.
And then you'll understand, all right, what's my content now? So what content do I need to put in these emails and text messages or direct mails that educate patients without selling them, so to speak, but making it extremely convenient for them to do it, as well as driving the importance to them that they should get this done, or that they should care about that. And then your medium. So what is the delivery method? Are you texting it? Are you doing a phone call afterwards, a week after, and dialing out? Define that for yourself. What's your cadence for that? And then your timing. When do you want to send it out? Are you in a proactive state of mind where it's like, okay, I'm looking 3 weeks ahead. Things are kind of down right now. Let's do a campaign on crowns, implants, as well as we just brought on a new an orthodontist. So let's let our patients know what's new and happening in our practice. And then your audience, like, who do you actually want to receive this? And this is really important, because you don't want to just be like all patients, because do all patients care about implants? If I have all my teeth, do I care what implants are? no, I actually care that you probably don't know that I don't need implants. Like, why would you send me that, right? Do I look like I need dentures? No, I mean, look at these teeth.
It's like I'm insulted.
Dr. Klein, you shout out orthodontists from Illinois. But yeah, I mean, that's you sit down and really put your thought, like, what do I want to achieve? Who do I need to achieve this? And what are my objectives? And then obviously we measure the success of that through those campaigns. So if you're ever in that pinch again, you know the success of your campaigns. You can just replicate it again. So it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's that fear of just, that's so huge, by the way, Jeff, that makes total sense. Like you want to actually think through every single step before you execute. Because otherwise, if you get to that step, like I'm sure, you know, it's like, oh, I know I need to send out this message. So I'm going to pick this message. And then you get to the targeted option and it's like, I don't know what to do. And then you stop and you never send it. So think through every single step, purpose, content, target or list. Yep. And then platform of who you want to send it out to or how you want to send it out. It's huge. So thank you for that. But I think too, there's a lot of fear as far as what to send and when to send it, right? Like how frequent should I send this out? Unsubscribe, somebody unsubscribed. Now I'm going to stop doing it because that's bad, right? So you said some kind of email every month. How often would you recommend or see results as far as frequency?
I would say just be consistent with it. So I would say at the beginning of each month, at each quarter, each week, whatever. Yeah. You can go online, Google search content map or whatever, content calendar, and chunk it out. Maybe you want to do a social post every Wednesday. Okay, you know, it's Oral Cancer Awareness Month or it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Like, let's talk about this. Do you do scannings? Like, educate patients. What are the signs they should look out for? Right? Then do something on social and really chunk it out and follow that and get the team involved, right? Like, yes, you live here, right? Scope of mouth, and your patient and your team lives in scope of house, right? Like, they see it all. They understand what the pain is for themselves, for one, but also maybe they see that there's inefficiencies within the practice, whatever it might be. Like, work together as a team to solve for that. You'll have a much happier team, patients, as well as a more profitable practice. But in terms of consistency, figure out what the cadence is and don't turn it on and off. If one patient opts out, okay, you know what? You're not going to please everybody. And I know there's a lot of us out there that are veterans in the dental world that are very protective and understanding of the relationships that they have in the practice. Okay, great. I'm glad they opted out because that means you can now spend time with them one-on-one with the phone. Yes. Okay, but don't see like that one opt-out. Or sometimes what you'll see is like a ton of opt-outs, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, I'm never doing that again. It's like, that's a good thing, right? You're cleaning up your system. Now patients that haven't opted out, that's your base. That's, you know, they want to be online with you.
Yeah.
So
and being more engaged, like you were saying, like when you say pick up the phone, it's like pick up the phone and ask them why they no longer, or realize even what they did, why you unsubscribed. And do you realize what that means? Do you still want appointment reminders? Do you still want, because we can opt you out of specific messages through Revenue Well, which is amazing. And when you talk about a personalized experience for these patients and making sure that they are taken care of, that's the unmatched experience that's you're going to provide by reaching out. It's an opportunity, right, to take that and actually follow up with the patient.
Yeah, we said it on a previous call, right? We can either delight them or disappoint them when we engage with them. So
I love that.
Delighting your patients, are we making sure that every point of contact is delightful and enjoying and convenient? You know, online scheduling tools can be put into these campaigns itself, so they can schedule itself that you're in control over. You know, make it easy and convenient for them. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. What's that?
Don't disappoint them.
Don't disappoint.
Work too hard to get them, so don't.
And I like the point that you make too. There are people you aren't going to please, but guess what? They're not your loyal patients. They're not the ones that you want to keep coming back. But there is an opportunity. Don't just completely disappoint them and neglect them and say, oh, you're not the right patient for us. It's fine. You'll figure out what the reasoning is. Is it because they got too many messages at the same time, or if they want specific messages? And if so, cater to them. Make sure that is that personalized experience, like you were saying about implants. And
Right.
That is a huge thing that you need to focus on what you're going to educate your patients about, which are the pain points. And when it comes to involving your team, I love that, because teams should always be involved, and every team member knows something different. They think of things differently. So if you're thinking about educating your patients on implants, let's say, you're going to have a perspective of an assistant, a hygienist, and a front desk saying, this is a pain point or a common question I get, and this is a common question I get. Don't hide from those, address those, educate them, because if one person or multiple people have it, a lot more people have that same question, and they're going to respect you and trust you way more if you actually address it head on versus trying to hide from it or just, I'll talk to you about it in person. This is the new normal as far as virtual experiences. This is the new in-person experience, because before you can get them in the chair, you have to nurture them online and through their phones in order to get them there. So I love that, having different perspectives of each team, keeping them involved, and also having everyone understand it's more of a celebration. We're sending out this campaign, heads up, I know we tell our offices, we're sending out this campaign, make sure the phones are manned and that we're ready to go, because they're gonna ring. So it's more of it's exciting. It's more of a fun thing that's happening instead of like one more thing that has to be done.
Yeah. It shouldn't feel like that. Yeah. And revenue well is an extension of your practice, right? So like you're not an extension of us. So even aligning what's automated with the system with your processes. So if you follow up on unscheduled treatment plans a week out, and you want to kind of communicate that, at least you have something to refer back to. You know, if you're pulling, let's say your appointment confirmations, if you manually dial out on certain days, align those conversations with revenue as automation. So don't just take it, turn it on and leave it on. You'll see success with that. I'm not saying you won't, but imagine how much better it would be if you go in there and really make it you.
Right. I love that. Yeah. And you can alter those settings if that is a week out, if it's a few weeks out.
Super easy.
Yeah. Like if you just want, some people say, well, I like to make a call. I like to make a personal message. That is awesome. Do that call and then reschedule your first follow-up to be another week out or a few days. Or what happens though if you can't make that call? You're going to get slammed. Things are going to happen. You have all the intentions of the world. That's amazing. But just sometimes unexpected things happen and you just can't control it. Automations never let you down. They will always follow up. They will always guide the patient and educate the patient. So it's a lot easier for them to have that awesome experience. But this is, I always love talking to you. This is always
that was great.
Just gold, you know, you go on for hours. So basically, you touched on targeting too with implants, and I kind of went to that and I bounced because I bounced. When it comes to targeting specific people about specific things, we talked about as far as turning on messages or settings to be specific to every patient's experience. But messaging, I think there's also a different way to go about it. Like there's the option of educate, because you want everybody to know what services you offer. Right. I want everybody to know that I have implants, but then that's a different verbiage, right? It's not, don't tell them, hey, schedule an appointment, you should get implants, when they're, you know, their 30s and they're just not looking at implants at the moment, but maybe Invisalign, right?
Well, but here's the thing, maybe they have somebody in their family, or they know they're really unhappy with their smile, or they're, every time there's somebody that takes in a family photo and they're just like,
exactly.
You know, they're afraid of, so it's still good to have it, you know, it's just, but to your point, making sure the messaging is educating on the awareness of it, but what's the benefit? What's the why? Why are you talking to them about this right now?
Yeah, and that's I feel like that's always missed. Why am I sending this out? What is the goal that I want to achieve with it? Do I want to increase implant cases? Do I want patients to be aware? Am I sick of patients coming to me and saying, oh, look at my awesome new smile that I got down the road because I didn't realize you did implants? You know, like, what is the purpose of this? And, but most importantly, how is it resonating with the patient? We always say at High Five, we know how to talk to patients because we are your patients. So you have to put on your patient hat and think, hey, if I was a patient and I received this, how would I receive it, right? What would relate to me? I do feel like a lot of times it can be missed, right? You're, again, back to what we said earlier, you live and breathe dental. I mean, I even get caught up in this. We live and breathe dental, and then it's like, take a step back. They don't. So what does this mean? And if you could describe it to like a kindergartner, how would you describe it, and where's that value there? And then break it up from there. But
yeah, sometimes you have to segment your patients from being patients and consider them as consumers.
Yeah.
Right? In a digital environment, and where everybody's being marketed. I mean, how many times is my car's extended warranty over? I don't know. So it's like just making sure that they understand what's in it for them. And I mean, to your point, even doing like reverse testimonials, where if you have patients that have completed cases and they're really, really ecstatic about the work you just did, ask them to do a video with you, and then you can include that video in a custom campaign targeting patients that have unscheduled, 60/10s out there, or dentures, or whatever it might be,
Yeah, because that's a different message. You have your all patients, your educational, that is saying, we offer implants. If you know of anybody that, or if you're interested in implants, we do this here at our office. Feel free to reach out and answer any questions. We also have payment plans to take care of you, right? And then there's the, hey, we've proposed you to do an implant, and I'd love to get you started on your new smile. Here's a patient testimonial that vouches for this procedure and how much they trust me, doc, to do it. And here's financial options. It's just it's the same thing, but it's a different tone, because you're, to your point, going after different audiences. And you need to do that before you're going to do anybody or everybody. But it's a lot, and you're able to do that in revenue well with the targeting options, which is amazing. But I don't think enough people do it. It's disturbing.
It's okay. I mean, sometimes just take a step back, understand what are your needs within your practice, what are you trying to accomplish, what are your areas of opportunity from a production standpoint, profitability standpoint, whatever it might be. And you don't need a practice consultant all the time to sit there and do it. I mean, it's just goal setting. What do you want to achieve? What do you want? What do you see for your practice today that you don't currently have now? One of my favorite questions to ask customers or future customers is, take a step back. If you were a prospective patient, what does that digital experience look like when they engage with your office? From finding your office, from entering your office, to confirming things, like what does that look like? And then take a look and understand, what are my capabilities? How do I actually complete that? So.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to be talking with Lacey Phillips in 2 weeks about that, like reflecting on how to look at what do people experience with your practice specifically? Because if you're so focused on your new patients, you better get them in the office, and you better, you've most likely paid a lot of external money to get them there. So you better easily get them there and make sure you keep them afterwards. But it's such a huge value for sure to consider what the patient experience is. You talked about proposed treatment and everything. Okay. Where do you see and I'm not introducing just that, I'm not like teeing you up, but it made me think, and I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. What is like the most valuable campaign that you have seen time and time again, like every practice, if they need a good push, what should they do in their office?
Oh, I would say everybody always has opportunity for reactivations. You have patients that are reactivations, and ask any consultant. Usually they'll say anybody that hasn't been in your practice in 18 months or greater, they kind of consider that a prime suspect for reactivation. But I would say running that reactivation, we automate that for you, right? So we're, again, along the patient journey. But sometimes running it, you're going to clean up your data a little bit. You're going to get some patients rescheduled or scheduled on the schedule, and usually they're pretty profitable, right? I mean, it's a lot cheaper to reactivate a patient than to acquire one.
Absolutely.
Especially the stats behind it, right? I mean, 47% of new patients don't schedule a second appointment. So think about it. Like, you spend $300 or so to get them in the door. Average acquisition cost in dental, I believe. And then half of them won't show up again.
Right. And
go run a text campaign and see if you can reactivate some.
And it always blows my mind when I talk to practices too. And I'm like, okay, you got them. Now what? Like
Right.
what are you doing? And well, we booked an appointment when they're in the office, and then they come back and we give them a great experience. Absolutely. But nowadays, attention spans and just busyness is just, we talk about this a lot, Jeff. It's just instant gratification, right? You just have to have everything now, and you need to cater to that demographic too, and you need to educate them and stay top of mind, or you will be lost. It is just the fact of the world now. But yeah, reactivation is always a great one. We always have your guys' turned on for automations, and then we boost every quarter. We do another push because at this point they're lost. You've got nothing to lose. So
sometimes they just fall through the cracks, and that's why I love that campaign, because after, let's say, I think it's 3 attempts, if you turn on all 3 attempts and they don't reactivate with you, or they miss it, whatever it might be, we're not going to automate another attempt there. So run a reactivation campaign and get after it. So you got nothing to lose except patience. So.
Absolutely, got nothing to lose. We also like the your guys' ASAP list. That always helps for just quick fills. For someone dropped out, and we always tee up like a template for last minute openings, so it's like custom for the patient or the practices. But yeah, that's always a good one with your ASAP list to just get that extra push and fill the schedule with loyal patients. That we see a lot of value as well. Okay, let me ask you this. As far as elements in an email or like in a campaign, what do you think is most important elements that you need to have no matter what?
Yeah, I think you would go back to those five elements. What's your theme? What's your content? How are you going to deliver it to them? When are you going to deliver it to them? And who is the best candidate to receive that content? Again, making sure, if you're sending a whitening special to patients with periodontal disease, like, is that somebody you really want in? I mean, no. That should maybe reward the patient that has been coming in and has great oral health with you. And it's like, hey, maybe I'm not a big fan of discount dentistry, but if you want to knock a couple bucks off just to get them in or whatever it might be on a whitening special. Again, anything that you do, be consistent. If you're going to start doing posts on Facebook, updating blog posts on your website, sending out newsletters or whatever each month, just be consistent. Be consistent.
I love that.
So I think that's honestly the most important part, is whatever you do from a kind of just a general outreach, just be consistent with it. Yeah,
because a lot of times they did it or it happened, which is awesome. If you even like send out a custom campaign, I'm proud of you. Kudos, tap yourself on the back. But you got to keep doing it because it is intimidating. I totally get it. I mean, that's why we have a whole business, is because we do it for you. But there is, just the idea of engaging and having a plan and making sure it's able to, your team's on board, you have everything. We always like to, give it an extra push by, I always recommend custom photography, because if there is a specific element that's going to make you stand out, it is
definitely.
And you can put it in the header like you guys have, and you can even add photography throughout. It's really easy with your system. But that's always huge, because you want to make sure you stand out with whatever softwares your competitors have. You want to make sure they understand it's your practice reaching out. Because if they're inactive in one practice, they might be inactive in another practice that's close by. So just standing out against competition, and then making it easy to act. Big button.
Now, right? Make it easy. Millennial patients specifically won't schedule a medical appointment out of convenience alone. I believe 9 out of 10 of them won't. So making it, even if it's text us for an appointment, put it on your website if you have that capability turned on.
Yes.
If you're using RevenueWell online scheduler, right? Like, customize that for your patients that are seeing you online, make it convenient for them to actually put themselves on your calendar. And if you want to add a 2-step verification to that, you certainly can. Call us to learn more. But there's a lot of opportunity to make it convenient for patients. So
it's so true. If I click a button that says, let's say, request an appointment, and I click it and it goes to a homepage, or there's something else that's not for me to book an appointment, I'm gone. Like, and
it's so frustrating. It's like you click on it and I have to, it tells me how to call you, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Why didn't you dial it? Now I have to dial.
That's it.
Yeah, done. It's crazy, but that's just, we're so used to that instant gratification and things being
Right.
and I think it's the knowledge of knowing there's technology out there to do it easily. And for me, and maybe it's because we're in this industry, but I'm instantly defeated. Like, you're not going above and beyond for me. You know, I expect this kind of experience. I want it to be easy. I want it to be gratifying that what I did was easy to act on, but you just threw an ad in front of my face and I have no idea what's happening, you know? So I'm lost.
And think about how much more prepared that patient is. They go online, they book their appointment with you, you accept it the next morning, it sends them an automated email asking them to complete their new patient forms. Now I'm definitely going to show up because I've done the forms, I'm already scheduled, I never had to deal with you yet. And I walk in, I walk out, and I just loved it the entire time. I mean, just make it easy. And again, making sure that's a valid point, making sure your website is up to date. If you have tools on there that you know don't work, get them off. Because if I'm a new patient and I'm checking you out and I go to your website and stuff's not working, or it looks like it's from it's a 1988 release of Space Jam's website, whatever. I'm like, good reviews, but not, what do they want to see? I'm not quite sure, but just making sure it's updated.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And even just having, I think you hit a really big point too that we haven't talked about, is the welcome email. It's
right.
that is huge to have your first experience, whether you're with, whether they're going to get the email after their first appointment or before their first appointment, depending on the software, right? Management software. But I always ask people, what do you want the patient to do? Like,
right.
You have full control. Don't be this is the time not to be vague. Tell them exactly what you want them to do and bullet it out. First, you're going to get a call from our office and they're going to do this. Second, you're going to get your online patient forms. That's in the link below. Fill it out online. That decreases wait time. Third, we're going to take care of you and we're going to introduce you to your hygienist. Fourth, we're going to introduce you to doctor. Fifth, we're going to give you a tour of the office.
Yep.
Give them those proper expectations. You will blow their mind, and it's transparency is key when it comes to all communication. Be upfront, be honest, and make it easy. And actually, it keeps your team accountable too. Like, it's in writing what we're supposed to do. We better do it, and that just helps clarity with the team to give that unmatched experience every time.
Absolutely. And trim some of the fat off. I mean, some of the emails, just consumers have a very, very, very short attention span, especially with TikTok being a hot thing right now. But the amount of time they spend visually reading something is dramatically less than how much it is for them to just either watch a video, look at an image, or bullet points like, hey, thanks for scheduling an appointment. Be sure to do the following. Boom, 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 and then have complete your online forms, refer a friend, whatever it might be. Right? And the other thing I love saying this is turn your expectations into conversations, right? If you expect them to do a review for you, but you're not talking to them about how important reviews are for your practice, meaning, hey, that was great feedback, would you mind sharing it? That's a simple. Get the commitment, ask them if they would do that for you, instead of just assuming or buying a program like RevenueWell and just expecting that they're going to get that text and they're going to just do a review, and then you might call me a week later and say, we got reviews turned on, but we're not getting it. It's like, my question to you is, do they know that they're going to receive a text asking them for feedback?
Yes.
Oh no, Jeffrey. You have to. You got to let them know. Again.
That's funny that you say that, because we say the same exact thing. We always tell people, get that verbal commitment from them before they even receive that email or text asking them for a review. So it's part of ask them at the end of their appointment, hey, we love having you as a patient. We'd love to have more patients just like you. We are accepting new patients, so please refer your friends and family. Is that okay? Yeah, of course. Also today, you're going to get a text message, and we're going to ask you to write a review. We'd love to get your feedback and let people know how great your experience was today. Is that okay? If they say yes, you got a verbal commitment from them, and they are more prone to look for that text or email, whether they do or not. That's up to the patient. But you did everything that you could to set them up for success and help generate reviews. But I promise, if they give a verbal commitment, you're going to see those numbers a lot higher, because you're like, oh my gosh, I can't disappoint Jenny. She'll kill me if I told her I'd write a review. I'm going to do it, So it's just making sure that's so funny. We say the exact same thing. because you see better results that way. If they know, they'll do it.
Only one way. Just ask them.
Exactly. Yes.
Be consistent.
Be consistent, be transparent, and make it easy. I think that's the best thing. Those are the 3 tips. If you don't hear anything else from today, those are the 3 we absolutely want to bring home for you. Well, Jeff, is there anything else that you want to make sure everybody knows about? Or do you feel good about today?
Yeah, I mean, for one, thank you again for anybody that's watching this, and Abby for having me.
Yeah.
There's some really great resources on our website. If you go to revenuewell.com, click on resources. There's a ton of great ebooks. There's 2 that I'm going to recommend to you guys. There's 5 can't miss marketing strategies, and then marketing campaign toolkit. And those are some very simple to eat. Yeah. You know what? Very simple to digest.
Yeah.
Pages long, really breaks down, and even gives you like a content calendar that you can print out and do every month. So pretty simple to get started.
That's awesome. As far as planning, we're talking about planning. There's a resource right there to get started and have some direction on how to plan.
Free download. Just gotta give us your email address.
Yeah, awesome. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for coming on today and letting us pick your brain and all your knowledge. Hope to have you back sometime in the near future. And go to the revenuewell.com, guys. Check out the resources, download them. I will be back every Wednesday from 12 p.m. Central Time, and we're going to eat together. And by that, I mean educate, automate, and target. So I hope to see you guys all next week.
Sounds
Bye.
good.
Thanks, Jeff.